You want to start saving for your student or your child's future education, but the problem is they're only 2. How do you know what they're going to do when they grow up or what kind of career they're going to have? That's a question a lot of parents think about as they evaluate whether or not they should be saving for a 529 and how much they should be saving. My name is Christina Strickland. I'm the managing partner of Rally Wealth and Benefits, and today I want to get into how to predict and save for future college expenses when your student is still very young. It's kind of a weird paradox because they always say the younger your student is when you start saving, the better off you're going to be. The problem is when they're so young, you don't even really know if you need to be saving because what if they don't go to college? Here's the thing I would propose is that quit thinking about it as just college savings, right? It's hard to do because the name is literally 529 College Savings Plan. However, that's not the only thing 529s can be used for, right? So if we can kind of break out of that mindset of, hey, this is specifically for college, some things that you might not be aware of is that $529 can be used for multiple things. They could be used actually for private school, K through 12. They could also be used for vocational school. Maybe you have a kiddo that wants to be a welder, or maybe they want to go to cosmetology school, things like that. So you could use $529 for that. You can also use $529 in certain cases to help pay for apprenticeship programs. So lots of $529 uses outside of a traditional 4-year education. Another thing that I would think through is, you can do with $529 if there's money left over, you can give it to siblings, or you could save it for maybe, that student might grow up and have kids one day. So you could kind of preserve those dollars for future generations. You could also take $529 that either you don't need or are left over, and you could make a Roth contribution out of the $529. That's a newer rule that wasn't available a few years ago. But basically what it is that if you have unused $529 currently in 2026, the the lifetime limit is that you can convert $35,000 per student from 529s to a Roth. But here's the thing. $35,000 is the lifetime limit. You are still subject to the annual contribution limits and the annual income limits. So those change every year, but that's something to be aware of is, hey, look, if I overdo this 529 thing, I could actually save those dollars for my kiddo's retirement instead. And so you didn't unnecessarily put dollars in a bucket that you can never get out of, right? You could, again, give them to siblings, give them to a family member, convert it to retirement savings. You can also, if you want to, you could take the dollars back out. I don't necessarily propose that because there is some penalty and taxes, but it is an option, right? I don't recommend it, but you could, if you needed the dollars, you can get them back out. Again, there's going to be taxes and maybe some penalty, but that's better off than just, hey, I can never touch these dollars ever again, right? So the big thing is just thinking through, yes, as a 2-year-old, 4-year-old, maybe even a 12-year-old, 15-year-old, you don't know that your kiddo is going to go to college, right? But here's what you do know. You know that as a parent, you want to set your child up for success. So instead of thinking about 529 as just only 4-year institution money that I'm locking in a bucket and I can never look at it again, think about it instead as you're making good financial decisions today that will lead to your child having more opportunities available to them in the future. And so I think when you can kind of shift that mindset to, hey, look, I don't know if my student's going to grow up and be a Baylor Bear or be a Missouri Tiger or whatever it is, right? We don't know. We have goals and we think we know what we want them to do, but the reality of the situation is they're their own people with their own minds, right? We don't know. But what we do know is the more savings I can do immediately, the better options they are going to have available to them. And I think that's the goal of every family, is to help set their children up for success. So if you can just kind of think about it from that perspective, I think it's a much easier kind of hurdle to get over. If you have questions about how much to save for college, in the link below, there is a video that walks exactly through how to determine what you should be doing there. So check out those videos. If you have questions or you need anything at all, reach out to us at Rally Wealth and Benefits. We would love to help.